Morning, guys. So this morning, or today rather, we're going to be looking at some of the questions you had for homework last night. And there was also an interesting question about what does it mean to shade something, and we'll also maybe move on to onto some new stuff, problem solving using the Venn diagrams and sets. Okay, so we're going to start off with question, I think you had question 3, 5 and 7 for homework last night, I think. Yeah, that looks okay. So I might take a look at, due to my questions, I might take a look at question 5 and question 7, if that's okay. So we're on page 53 and we're looking at question 5 to start with. So list the elements of the following sets: A without C. So that means we write down everything in A, which is 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then if it's in C, well, we remove it from A. We pull it out of A. So that's going to be A without C is equal to. So I'm going to remove everything that's in C. So I remove a 2. There's no 2 to remove. I remove the 4. I also remove the 10. And if there was a 14, I would remove that also. So A without C is equal to 5, 6, 8, and 12. So that's what that backslash line means. It means without. Now B without D. So to do this, I write out the set B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I remove everything that's in D from it. So I remove 0. There's no 0 to remove. I remove 5. So he's gone. I remove 10. There's no 10. And I remove 15. There's no 15 to remove. So B without D is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So that's how we would do the first 2 parts of that. I'm now going to jump ahead to the last part. Okay, so I'm going to skip a few steps there. So our first job is to look at A union B. And A union B is basically A and B joined together, and we don't repeat. So A union B will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12. So I think that's what A union B is. And we have to look at A intersection B, and that's equal to, well, there's a 5 in both anyway. So we're looking for the elements that are in both sets. So there's a 5 in both sets, and there's a 6 in both sets, and I think that's the lot of them. So the intersection between A and B is 5, 6. Oh, is there a 4 as well in both? I think there was a 4 in both as well. So I'll just remove some of that stuff. And there's also a 4. And you'll notice it doesn't matter about the order in a set. So in sets, the order doesn't matter. It's nice to write them out in ascending order, but it doesn't actually matter. You won't be marked wrong for it. So I think that is the overlap between A and B, or the intersection between A and B. And then we're asked to find A union B without A intersection B. So to do that, as normal, we would write down A union B, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, big set. And then we remove everything that's in A intersection B from it. So we take out 5, 6, and 4. So this is now A union B without A intersection B. And that's equal to, just to make it neat, 1, 2, 3, 8, 10, 12. So again, that backslash, that means without. So it's A union B without A intersection B. So if it's in A intersection B, we remove it from A union B. So that's a few little parts of question 5 done. So I also want to talk about this because I can't correct everyone's work all the time. Okay, that's just not feasible. So there should be an answer. You should be able to use the answers at the back of the book to check your answers. So if you get an answer out, you check your answer. If it's correct, you're fine. You move on to the next question. If it's not correct, you should have another go at the question. And you keep trying until you get it correct. Now, there will come a point in time when you can try and you won't get it. And you might need a bit of help. And when that happens, you then contact me and you let me know that you got stuck in a particular problem, and I will definitely answer that question when I'm doing my videos. Okay, so I suppose it's great that you're turning in work, guys, but just try and correct your own work. Yeah, that you should be able to look after this yourselves. Okay, so I'm kind of there maybe to help out and to give a bit of direction, but you guys should be able to learn this stuff by yourself. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Now, that's going to be a very hard thing to do, don't get me wrong, and we won't get it right first time, and you won't get it right first time. It's very, very hard to learn without sitting in a classroom. But yeah, just stick with it and check your answers at the back of the book. Okay, so there's no point in doing a question wrong and thinking you got it correct. Okay, if you have successfully got an answer out, check that answer at the back of the book. Right. So that was question 5. So let's move on to question 7. And I think this was the question where I think it was Mark who asked the question, what does it mean to shade something? And he said, was it just color the particular circle? And that's exactly what you do, Mark. Yeah, you just color in particular zones of the circle. So make 2 copies of this Venn diagram. So I'll do that. There's 1 and there's 2. And that's P and that's Q and that's P and that's Q. On the first, shade P without Q. So P without Q is everything that's in P, but we remove the things that are in Q from P. So that means that it's going to be that zone there. So we have removed this zone out here. We've taken that out. Happy? Okay, so that's part 1. And then part 2 is Q without P. So Q without P will be this zone out here. God, that was a very easy question, wasn't it? That seemed far too easy. Q without P and P without Q. Yep. Okay. Anyway, so that's that question 7. Okay, so they're like sets are nice, aren't they? If sets come up in your junior cert, guys, you should be getting full marks in the question. Right, now I want to move on to some new stuff. So I want you to take a look at page 56. What I'm proposing to do is I will now answer question 3, and then your homework will be do question 1 and question 2. So I presume you're aware that as the number of questions increases, the questions get more and more difficult. So question 7 would be more difficult than question 6, and question 6 would be more difficult than question 5. So if you follow question 3 with me, you should be able to have a fair bash at question 1 and question 2. That's my thoughts here, okay? So I'm going to do question 3 now, and then you guys will have a go at question 1 and question 2. So I'm going to draw out the square, or the rectangle rather. Is a square a rectangle? But a rectangle is not a square. Oh, I think there's an error here. So this 28 here, I think that means there's 28 people in that zone. So we don't put a little dot beside him to show that it's 28 p, to show that the number 28 is in p. We show that the size of that is p by putting it in square brackets. Okay, I think that's the way it will be done in the junior cert from memory. It's been ages since I actually taught junior cert maths, but I think that's what they do. I'll have to double check that, but I think that's to show that the size of that zone is 28. We put it in square brackets. Okay, so let's assume that's what we're going to be doing. So X for Xbox and P is for PlayStation. Makes sense. U is all of the teenagers in the youth group. So how many teenagers use PlayStation? Now, how many teenagers use the PlayStation? Well, these 28 here, they definitely use a PlayStation, and these 12 here also use a PlayStation. So it's going to be 28 plus 12, which is equal to 40. So 40 of the teenagers use a PlayStation. Are we okay with that? That these guys in here, these 12 guys here, they use both. So because they use both, they definitely do use a PlayStation. If they didn't want you to include those 12 people, they would say uses a PlayStation only. Okay, so let's take a look at question 2 then. How many teenagers use an Xbox? Well, it's these guys and it's these guys. So it's 21 plus 12, which is equal to 33. And then part 3. How many teenagers use PlayStation only? So only means we can only have these guys here, because these 12 people, the 12 people who I will shade in red, they use both. So they don't use a PlayStation only. So uses a PlayStation only is 28. How many teenagers use neither of these games? So neither of the games, neither means you don't use a PlayStation and you don't use an Xbox. So it's definitely not these 12 guys here in the red zone. So in the red zone, they definitely use them because they in fact use both. Okay, it's definitely not the blue guys because they definitely use an Xbox, and it's definitely not the yellow guys because they definitely use a PlayStation. So it must be these 14 guys out here. So the 14 guys who are not in any of the circles, they do not use any of the games consoles. Okay, so that's question 3. So see if you guys can have a go now at question 1 and question 2 on page 56.